What's going on, YouTube? It's about that time again. Now we tune in to Reality Talk News. Now we have an update of Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony. So as far as the verdict, they read the verdict. So Karmelo Anthony is found guilty of the first-degree murder of Austin Metcalf. So basically, he's going to be end up facing 5 to 99 years in prison. He's going to face up to 5 to 99 years in prison. So they read the verdict already. So now, Karmelo Anthony mama took the stand for the sentencing phrase. So the prosecution defended both way open statements for the sentencing phrase of Karmelo Anthony's trial. The prosecutor rests and defense called it Kayla Hayes, Anthony's mother. He's my oldest. He's my firstborn, she said. He will always be my baby. I love him very much. The defense responded, does your son regret what he did? The witness, yes, he very, very sorry of what he did. So the punishment phrase of the trial ended after just one witness. So here's the sentencing right here. After the short break, a jury returned to the courtroom for the sentencing phrase, which is going to carry up to 5 to 99 years. This will be like a new trial, but with the same judge, jury, and players. That will be an open and closed statement unless they are waived. The prosecution was defense with prison witness, but these witnesses are including the defense background and character. The prosecution and defense waive open statements, and the prosecution has rested and defense they call Kayla Hayes, Anthony's mother. So Karmelo Anthony broke down in tears, which could be heard inside the courtroom after the guilty verdict has read. His parents walked out. Judge Roach told Anthony that his bond has been extended. He is remaining to custody of the County Sheriff's Office. The courtroom remains silent. Everyone remained seated except Anthony's parents, who left the courtroom, and the defendant who had whisked away by sheriff deputies. So the jury had found Karmelo Anthony guilty for this murder. So the Collin County jury found Karmelo Anthony guilty of the murder of a fatal stabbing of a 17-year-old Austin Metcalf during a Frisco ISD track meet, bringing to the end of the closely watched trial of drew natural attention and the sparked debate over self-defense, race, and school safety. So before the jury entered the courtroom, Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, had his arms around Anthony, who looks tense. Howard appears to be comfort to his client, Austin Metcalf's parents, were pulled aside and remained not to show any public emotion when the verdict has announced. So the friends of Austin Metcalf were in the courtroom, as well as his twin brother Hunter for the first time. Hunter Metcalf has been allowed in the courtroom because he was on the witness list. He did not testify, however. The jury did not look at Anthony and they walked into the courtroom. Sentencing could be right away since the jury came back so quickly. Now, let me tell you this. With all those blacks, with all those people that allowed those African-American women to go up in that courtroom on their behalf of the jury, remember, it was an all-white jury, and it was at least two Asian immigrants. Hit the like button. And he's going to most likely going to face 5 to 99 years in prison. And then what you got to understand, Texas always been a prejudiced state for a long time. You got to look at this. Texas always been a prejudiced ass state. The governor the mayor, the prosecutor, the congressman, they all white. And you notice, and I notice, that they didn't allow no cameras going there. They was going there and they said they was tampering, they was doing underhanded, dirty things in that courtroom. But I'm gonna tell you like this. It's a bunch of forgiveness on both parties. There is forgiveness on both parties. It's a whole lot of agreement and a whole lot of disagreement on both parties. He should have walked away or he should have never done it. Now, at the defense present the closing argument, prosecutor Bill Whiskey began speaking to the jury and rebuting the self-defense argument. And then this is one of those rare cases where every important fact that could be boiled down to one sentence. If you not get a shove with a stab, especially you are provoked to shove, Whiskey says, why didn't Anthony just not walk away? Whiskey said to the jury, you see, he had a choice to walk away and abandon the encounter. If you meet deadly forces with a deadly force in Texas, but you cannot meet forces, a shove, with deadly force, a stab, he says, size differently. If it doesn't work in the case, you don't get to kill someone just because they are bigger than you. Whisker further explains why he thinks the self-defense argument does not hold up in this case. A self-defense has to be reasonable belief. That the reasonable belief means belief that were held by an ordinary and prison person in the same situation as the defense. It has to be immediately necessary. Were to immediately necessary a plunge knife into an unarmed young man. Whiskey says it's not self-defense, it's murder, plain and simple. Let me tell you something. Imagine Karmelo Anthony was a Chinaman. If Karmelo Anthony was a Chinaman and ran the store, they'd plead him not guilty. If they went in there and to attempt to steal something, hit the like button. If they was continuing to go in there and steal something, and Karmelo Anthony decides to go and shoot this person, then, and he was a Chinaman, he'd have got away with this. Now, by him being a young black man, he's guilty. And if it was turned the way around, because people don't know what life really is about the situation. Now, the jury can convince a lesser charge of manslaughter, now criminally negligent homicide. Now, Anthony defense attorney also object that the jury institutions not including criminally neglect homicide as a lesser charge of the jury can consider. Prosecute Bill argued that the criminally neglect homicide should not be an option for the jury because there is not enough evidence on the record that the defense was unaware of his actions could lead to death. Roach also unruled this option. The addition of the murder charge, which is a first-degree felony, the jury will be able to consider conviction Anthony of a lesser charge of manslaughter, which is a second-degree felony. Now, according to the Texas law, murder, when a defense intentionally that knoweth acknowledges the cause of a death of an individual, while manslaughter, when the defense recklessly causes the death of an individual, if the jury decide to convict the murder charges, Anthony would have faced the prison up to 5 to 99 years to life in prison. A manslaughter conviction will bring a sentence to 2 to 20 years in prison. So the charges of criminal neglect, homicide, which is a state jail felony, the lowest level felony offense in Texas law, a state jail felony brings the sentence to 6 months to 2 years in prison. Now, let me tell you one thing straight. If they decide they want to give him 2 to 20 years, I said, well, tell you what, let's go and give him a deal. Let's come a deal, and he gonna get the 2 or 20 years in prison. He'd be eligible, what, in 5 or 6 or 7, 8 years. But the understanding of the life is those people, that Texas law is no joke. When it comes to these murders, they will railroad you like a motherfucker. Not only Texas, South Carolina, California, any other state you living in this country, America system will railroad you. They railroad down to 80 to 90% of young black African men. Railroad people. They railroad takes advantage of this whole situation. And again, he's not gonna get out this. But if they decide to, like they said, why did he just walk away? He should just walked away. He just gonna walked away from the whole thing. And that avoid jail time, it avoid stabbing, it avoid keeping you alive and keeping him out of jail. So only thing is, once the deliberation came in, he found it guilty, and he's going to end up facing 5 to 99 years. Sorry for that family. Sorry for 2 different party families. And there's no more about this story. So thank you for watching Reality Talk News.